Well, hello again and welcome back into Studio B. My name is Jyothi Bainey and this is a practice called Time for Everything. Many of us feel like we don't have time for our practice. And even if we do a practice, we only do a small slice of it. Maybe we do movement, maybe we do meditation, maybe we do breathing, but we very rarely feel like we have time for all of those things together in one practice. And that's what this practice is the solution for. In 30 minutes, we're going to do all of those things, and I'm going to prove to you that you truly do have time for everything. Let's find a comfortable position to begin the practice. For me, that means seated, cross-legged, and placing my hands down on my knees. We're going to start straight away with Netra Vyayamam, the eye movements. So tall posture. Let's take a full breath in. Let's let that breath out easily and naturally. And then if the eyes are closed, go ahead and blink them open without moving any other part of your body. Lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then start tracing a clockwise circle around the periphery of your line of sight. You'll notice there's like a gray, fuzzy circle at the periphery of your sight, and that's what we're tracing around. And you might wonder why we're beginning with a practice like just moving the eyes. And what we're doing here is we're stretching and toning all of the muscles that surround the optic nerve. The eyes are directly connected to the brain, so when we work with the eyes, we are also working with the brain. Now, the next time you reach 12 o'clock at the top of your line of sight, pause for a moment and then reverse counterclockwise. And we're trying not to skip or jump over any of the points in this counterclockwise circle. If you start to get more comfortable with this movement, then you might feel like you could pick up the speed a bit, but without sacrificing the integrity of that full circular movement. And then the next time your eyes reach the ceiling, you don't need to rush, stop. Bring the eyes straight ahead, close them, take a full breath in, and a complete breath out. And then bring the palms of your hands together and start to rub them vigorously as if you were starting a fire in between your palms. And then once you've stimulated enough heat, go ahead and cup the palms over the eyes, letting the fingertips just rest at the hairline. This particular practice of moving the eyes is so good for eye strain, headaches, or if you spend a lot of time looking at screens. As you feel that heat dissipating, take the pads of the fingers and start to gently massage or tap or palpate around the face. I find around my temples and around my jaw is often craving just a little bit of extra loving attention. And then let's release the arms and let's bring some movement into the body. Let's come to stand at the front of our space, please, in mountain pose. So feet about hip distance apart and lengthening the arms alongside the body. Go ahead and connect with that energy of the mountain. So we're tall, we're steady, we're grounded and strong. And we'll start to create some movement here, starting with a half salutation. Let's inhale, sweep those arms out and up, look up. Exhale, long spine, maybe soften the knees as you fold forward and down. Inhale, fingertips come to the shin bones as you lift up to a tabletop spine. Exhale, drop down and into that Uttanasana forward fold. Circle sweep the arms out and up. And bring the palms of the hands together, back in towards heart center. Let's move into our sun salutations. Inhale, lengthen the arms. Exhale, bring the palms of the hands together, position 1. Inhale, reach those arms forward, up and back. Hinging at the waist, folding long spines, position 3. Let's step the left foot to the back of your mat space and gently lower that left knee down. So this is likely your first lunge of the day. You could stay here with the fingertips on the mat, or you could walk the hands up onto the right thigh. Maybe a little chest expansion here. Hands come to the low back, inner elbows together. Lift the heart and open across this front of the chest for some beautiful expansion in the inner shoulders, the front of the heart, opening up the front of the ribs, gently bracing the head up and back. And then release the hands down to the mat and step back to that upside down V, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in here. As you exhale without moving your feet, gently lower your knees to the mat and start moving into a couple cat and cows, nourishing the spine. And just noticing how much we're fitting in this short practice, how much we've already done with the body and with the mind, just by showing up and committing to doing the most that we can with the time that we have. Let's come back to a neutral spine. Keep the knees down, knees, chest, and chin. Chest between thumbs, chin forward, Ashtangasana. Slide onto the belly. Lift up, cobra. It doesn't have to be a huge cobra. And then shift it back, downward facing dog. I'm going to keep it really soft and compassionate here. Lower my knees, take my left thumb to my right thumb, step my left foot forward, and I'm in that low lunge on the second side. And I've got all these options. Fingertips could stay down. Hands could come up onto the left thigh. Or I could move into that chest expansion, hands onto the low back, inner elbows together, and then I take the sternum bone and I lift it forward and up. And I feel the head bracing up and back. So I'm not just dropping the head, there's this real feeling of up and back with the head and the heart. One more full breath in. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Big step forward, right foot comes to meet the left. Fold in. And then circle sweep the arms out, up, a little back bend at the top. Palms of the hands together. We'll take one more Surya Namaskaram. Inhale, lengthen the arms. Exhale, house that breath, palms together. Inhale, forward, up and back. Always time for a full nurturing breath. Hinging and folding, position 3. Right foot to the back of the mat. Now you could lower the right knee, of course, or if you're craving a little bit more energy, keep the knee lifted. Fingertips could stay down. Hands could come up to the waist or reach them up to the ceiling. And I have a tendency here for the pelvis to sort of spill forward. So I'm going to think about the waistband of my pants, and I'm just going to lift that waistband up. And that's going to take my bottom ribs towards my hip points. I'm going to feel a deeper stretch in my right hip flexor. So I'm getting more out of the time that I have in the shape. One more inhale. Exhale, lower those hands gently, step it back, downward facing dog. Give yourself a full breath in here, looking back at the toes. And then shift it forward to a plank position and lower the knees down. So we're in a half plank. No tenting of the hips. Hips in line with the rest of the body. An option to do 3 half chaturangas here. Inhale, broaden across the chest that we've already expanded. Exhale, shoulders drop in line with the elbows. Push the floor away back up to that half plank. Exhale, lower half chaturanga. You've got this. One more time. Time for a little bit of strength building. Lower down. Come all the way to the floor. Lift up to that gorgeous cobra. And then shift it on back to downward facing dog. Nice full breath in here. Exhale. Guide the right foot forward in between the hands. Either fingertips down, hands on the waist, or arms reaching up. And again, bringing that awareness to the waistband space and lifting the waistband up so the bottom ribs come down. You get this awareness in the front of the core and a little bit more opening in this front compartment of the hip here. 2 more beautiful breaths. So we're maximizing what we get out of the time in each shape. Last inhale. Exhale, hands down, step it forward, folding. And then reaching out, up and back. Here's that back bend. And bring the palms of the hands together. Inhale, sweep those arms out and up. Exhale, fold over those legs. Inhale, lift up, halfway lift. Step it back, plank pose. Take about 4 breaths in this plank position. And again, maximizing the time we have in our practice. If you want a little more core work, wiggle the feet back and elongate your plank. And then push the floor away through the palms. Maybe lift the corners of the mouth and a slight smile. And saying, you know what, I am doing the most with the time that I have. And that makes me feel good. One more inhale here. Exhale, lower your knees, your thighs, your pelvis, your lower abdomen, and you'll find yourself in a Sphinx pose, which is a really beautiful back bending shape, really nurturing. Push the forearms down and then think of taking the elbows and pulling them back towards the ribs. And as you do that action, lift the head and open the front of the throat slightly. So you're that beautiful, proud Sphinx. If you're getting everything you need out of this shape, stay right here. If you want a little more, take the palms the width of your mat. Push down through the palms, lift up into seal pose. Beautiful. Notice if the shoulders start to migrate up to the ears, and gently draw the bottom tip of the shoulder blades down and lengthen the sides of the neck. And then make sure there's a lot of activity in the legs. My kneecaps are really lifting away from the mat here. The front of the navel drawing up and in. And then gently lowering elbows. Widen the elbows and take a rest with your forehead on this little pillow that you make with the hands. And then we're going to take one more back bending shape here. Shalabhasana, locust pose. Let's bring the big toes together at the back of your mat. Bring your arms alongside your body, palms are down, and bring your forehead to your mat space. And then start to lift your head, your neck, your chest, your shoulders. Push down through the palms, lift the legs, the knees, the thighs. And then maybe lift the arms as well, fingertips reaching back towards the toes. It's almost like you're flying. But what we're doing here is we're really using all of the muscles along the posterior chain of the body, synergetically working together. This is a beautiful way to counter so much of the work that we do that's forward facing towards computers or driving. One more inhale. Bring the palms underneath your shoulders. Shift back gently to child's pose. Hips towards the heels, arms elongated, and rest. That's when we think really mindfully about how we approach our practice. We recognize that we can actually be really efficient, but not rushed. There's still a lot of ease in the way we're approaching the practice. And yet we're getting so much accomplished in a short period of time. Let's lift the head and the heart. We're going to move into an inversion practice called dolphin. So shifting forward to all fours. So looking down at the fingertips, and then lift your gaze and look up at your inner elbows. Take the eye of the elbow and spin it forward towards the front of your mat, and then bend the elbows and lower the forearms down. I'm going to do that one more time for you to see. So from all fours, eye of the elbows comes forward, bend the elbows and drop the forearms down. Then tuck your toes, root down through the forearms, lift your seat, and rock back into your dolphin shape. Let the head drop as you gaze into that space right in between the big toes. Now for some of you, if your lats or your shoulders are not particularly open to this shape, you might need to soften the knees so that the hamstrings are no longer challenging the pose and you can really create this energy of up and back. What we want to do is open up the armpit space. So you want to think of taking the armpits back towards the toes. Beautiful. Relax the face here. We're going to stay here about 4 more breaths. This is deeply strengthening for the shoulders, the upper back, but it's also beautifully decompressing for the spine, and it's quite relaxing to the nervous system. Take 1 more breath here. And then let's lower the knees down to the mat. And again, briefly return to that child's pose, but this time bring your arms alongside you. Let the shoulders droop towards the mat and the forehead rest. And then lifting the head and the heart, spinning the body around, hips down, legs forward, come onto the back. Setting up for shoulder stand. Now for some of you, shoulder stand it might not be the right practice today. Maybe you're on your cycle, maybe you're dealing with uncontrolled high blood pressure or glaucoma, any eye issues. So in that case, you would just do waterfall with the legs extended up towards the ceiling, arms alongside you. If you're going to come along with me into shoulder stand, bend the knees into the chest. Gain a little bit of momentum through the legs, swing them up and overhead, and then immediately bring the hands to the small of your back. And then as you're ready, elongate the legs up towards the ceiling. And in this posture, it's preferred that we not talk too much. We don't want to move the head or the neck. This is a really nice time to just drop into the cadence of your breath. Not staying upside down too long today, just about 30 seconds. Flexing the feet, releasing the toes overhead or knees towards the nose. I'm taking the option of a brief halasana plow pose here. And then I'm going to place my palms down on the mat using my palms like brakes. I'm going to roll 1 vertebra at a time back down to the mat. And then once my hips land, using my abdomen to control the descent of my legs, palms are down. Press into my elbows, lift up, look at my toes, tilt the pelvis, lift the heart, and drop the head back into Matsyasana fish pose. Beautiful, flourishing and opening of the throat. This is probably one of the deepest breaths you'll get all day, so take full advantage. And then pressing into the elbows, lift the head, rolling back onto the mat. Bring the knees into the chest for a spinal twist. So inner thighs together, arms come out either in a field goal position or a capital T shape. And drop your knees over to the left. Simple spinal twist. And you think back over this physical portion of the practice, recognizing that in this short period of time, we've done a little flow, we've done some core strengthening, inversion work, twisting, balancing. Knees in towards the chest. Let's drop the knee. Actually, let's briefly open up into a happy baby here, holding onto the outer feet or ankles, letting the thighs melt towards the mat, and allow this to be really intuitive. You know, if you want stillness, that's there. If it feels nice to sort of massage the spine, that's available as well. And then bring the inner thighs together for that simple spinal twist on the second side, dropping the knees over to the right. And so sometimes practices like this, we have the opportunity to prove ourselves wrong. You know, we think we don't have time for ourselves. And yet when we just commit to giving ourselves 30 minutes, we realize we do. It's there. It doesn't take as much time as we think it does to really nurture ourselves, give ourselves what we need, body, mind, and spirit. Bringing the knees in towards the chest and moving into our deep relaxation. Let's lengthen the legs and the arms, and we're going to do a Sigra Shavasana where we fully tense the muscles in the body. And when I tell you to, you'll lift the legs, the arms, and the head off the mat, squeezing tightly. And then when you hear me use the word release, you'll let the body drop back to the mat like a limb cut from a tree. To prepare for that practice, take a full breath in and a complete breath out. And then point the toes, make fists with the hands, tense every muscle in your body, lift your legs, your arms, your head, squeeze tightly. Release. Feel that intensity melting out of the body into the mat. And then we'll move through a brief 6-point body scan. So shift your awareness to the soles of your feet and completely relax there. Shift your awareness to the palms of the hands, completely relaxing there. Shifting your awareness to the ears and the eyes, completely relaxing there. Shifting your awareness to the tongue, resting in the mouth, completely relaxing there. And finally, shifting your awareness to the pelvis, completely relaxing there. Remembering that you are not your physical body. You are not the thoughts in your mind. You are this peace, and it is always within you. Enjoy it. Without moving, allow deep and conscious breath to re-enter the body. And then as the breath deepens, allow subtle movement through the fingers and toes. Maybe eventually the arms lengthen overhead for a full body stretch. And then in your own way, in your own time, making your way back up to a comfortable seat for some breath work. So we're going to work with 2 pranayama today. One that is quite energizing, Kapalabhati, and one that's very balancing, the alternate nostril breathing, or Nadi Shuddhi. And we'll begin with Kapalabhati. So Kapalabhati is where we gently snap the abdomen back and forth with the breath. On the exhale, the navel moves back towards the spine, and then relax the abdomen, and the inhale will come quite naturally. If you're unfamiliar, it looks and sounds like this. Let's do 3 rounds. I'll guide you through them very simply. So nice tall spines, resting place for the hands. Let's take a full breath in to prepare. Exhale completely. And then inhale about halfway and begin the first round. Take a full breath in and a complete breath out. And then just rest for a few moments with your natural breath. So Kapalabhati does not have to be fast. It can be in a pace that feels very manageable to you. What's very important is that you make sure you're drawing the abdomen in on the exhale and relaxing and letting the breath come in on the inhale. Round 2, inhale fully. Exhale completely. Inhale halfway and begin. Inhale. Exhale. Rest. Third and final repetition. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. Inhale partially and begin. Inhale. Exhale. Rest. Shifting now into alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shuddhi, making a soft fist with your right hand and releasing your thumb and ringing pinky finger and drawing that hand towards the face. Take a full inhale through both nostrils, then gently close the right nostril with your thumb and exhale out the left. Inhale through the left. Closing the left nostril with your ring and pinky finger, release the thumb and exhale out the right. Inhaling right. And switch. And you continue with this pattern of exhale, inhale, switch at your own pace. working to make your exhalations twice as long as your inhalations. Nadi Shuddhi is excellent preparation for meditation, balancing the left and right hemispheres of the brain and calming the nervous system. Noticing how the practice is getting quieter and quieter as you drop into deeper relationship with yourself. And without any sort of rushing, the next time you exhale out your left nostril, that completes a cycle. So you can release the hand and return to your normal, intuitive breath. Shifting into a brief moment or two of meditation here. If you find the mind attaching itself to thought or wandering, you might simply assign the mind the task of following the breath. And just noticing whatever thoughts may arise without needing to continue the story or to attach to them in any way. Just allowing the thoughts to be visitors that come and go naturally and easily. Remembering that this time is a special time that you've set aside to be in relationship with yourself. The longest relationship that you will have in your entire life is the one that you cultivate with your own self and your own soul. Bringing the palms of the hands together as we close this time for everything practice. Dropping the chin, bowing in gratitude that we had the time to move our bodies, to connect with our breath, and to still our minds. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. And may that light of truth overcome all darkness. Victory to that light. Jai Shri Sakru Maharaj Ki.